Well, hello. Good afternoon. We got a little bit of a ominous silence, maybe, in preparation for some pretty exciting casual boosts. We're actually just loading up the games here. Seeds have been rolled. Players have been selected. The race is just about to start between Thalane and RadicalSniper99 or Jesse. This is top 8, game 1 of the Casual Boost tournament. We've got two amazing runners, very adept, experienced with boots and a sword. It's going to be a great race. I am Claire Mouse. Joined with me, of course, is the casual boost runner of the world, Gem. Tracking for us is a Demon's Druid. Going to be a great time. Gem, how's it going?
Hi.
Hi.
It's going great. Although I think you're giving me a bit much credit.
Well, you know what?
So I'm eliminated and these guys are not. So
I was also going to say that. So talking to your league teammates last night and being in Casual Boost next week is the mode for league. They have both said that they're gonna play next week and they're gonna sit you out. So you're right. Maybe I should reevaluate my opinions here.
That's so sad.
Why
am I learning that now?
Well, if you just listen to the interview, no, it's all good. So right, I mean, we've got to actually kind of concentrate. If you were, playing in League, playing other modes, and you were so frustrated with not being able to start with those boots and a sword. I know you don't have much, experience because also in your League match, I believe you found sword and boots pretty early. But for the rest of us mere mortals who are bootsless and swordless, have we got the mode for you? We've got boots, we've got sword, and we've got we've got Thalane and Jesse. I would say so. You know Thalane from probably actually. Did you guys know each other when you first started playing Rando back in the day?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
Thalane started a year after me or so, and
at
some point we became friends. We started talking.
Oh no, yeah, that's good. I mean, and of course, several years later, here we are. We've got, people have improved, eons, magnitudes of order. I mean, Thalane and Jesse are no exception. And as you mentioned, so Thalane, I guess maybe he started maybe 2018, 2019, something like that.
Something like that, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So certainly has been around for quite some time, and clearly he is has shown no signs of stopping, in terms of skill, in terms of interest. Already making to top 8 here of Casual Boost tournament. Jesse, I'm actually not sure when he originally first started. Certainly has been a little bit later than Thalane, but he too is to own of his own accord. He has really tried to improve as a runner, to really kind of I want to say make a name for himself, but he was very, very interested in becoming a top runner. And it very much shows, right? You kind of actually, through the years, see him, I would say, climb the ranks, right? Kind of made it through, Open League, graduated to Invitational League, made the playoffs in Invitational League last year. I think he was also second in Mystery Pog Champ. So he's done a lot of different wacky modes, but of course everybody's used to boots. We also have a second sword. Isn't that really nice for escape?
Yeah, the second sword actually speeds up Bone Jenga significantly.
Do you need sword
beams if you're going for no, sword beams make it a bit easier because you can slash him. So what you want to do is you want to slash him up against the top. And while he charges his, or while he does a spin, you want to charge your own spin. And if you have sword beams, you can just slash up, move him up against the wall just a bit earlier, so you can start charging your own spin sooner.
Okay, so what you're telling me is if Thalane does this, then he can completely negate his map check he did at the very beginning. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Get this up 5?
Saves 3 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see if either runner goes for the double spin. I'm surprised that you don't. Yeah, for some reason they're just slashing. But the thing is, when you slash the Bone Jenga with Master Sword, it just does the same damage as Fighter Sword, so you're not actually saving any time.
Yes.
What you want to do is get the double spin in against the wall to just kill him in one spin, which saves I don't know, probably 2 or maybe 3 seconds or something like that.
I mean, that's essentially a map check right there, you know, 2 to 3 seconds. Like, so yes, I mean, yeah, and we actually did see, for those of you who can count along without compasses, it was 8 slashes as verified, you know, on both Thalane and Jesse's side. So everything does check out, and yes, as narrated very well by, you know, of course, the casual boost runner. Thank you,
Yeah, you know, when you run escape with boots and sword a couple 100 times, you learn what to do with
only
the
100? I feel like that might be an underestimate. Yeah, it might be an underestimate, but you know, again though, experience, you know, is really and you know, to a lot of people's credit, right? Like, you know, the escape sequence. Not only, of course, you run this in casual boots, right? You do also run this in many other modes as well. You know, I mean, standard. Well, anything that basically involves escape. You may not, of course, have the boots, you know, for those particular modes, but certainly this is something that I think a lot of people in general have been very practiced with, you know, especially throughout the many tournaments, right, with whatever people have kind of thrown at Randomizer.
Yeah, aside from casual boots, standard start isn't that common anymore these days, but especially if you've been around for a longer time, you should have a lot of practice with escape probably.
Yeah, I think I remember it was main tournament 2021. That was standard everything, standard start. I think for the entirety of the tournament. That I think that people got a lot of practice with that. And if you were one of the ones who were lucky enough to find the boots and sword early in, you know, Uncle and your house, that was basically casual boost for you. Maybe not. I think most people probably were not that lucky. Is my guess.
Yeah, the thing with that standard is that it's sort of a meme because you just start with a random weapon, so it's not real escape, but you certainly learn the rooms.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. Oh, speaking of, well, it's okay. Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say we have some back of escape goodies here. We already got the hook shot. I was gonna remark that we also picked up the red boomerang. I mean, again, not quite exactly standard and vanilla, but you know, you got a boomerang to work with, right? That's something.
Yeah, unfortunately it was a little bit late. You really wanted for the boomerang guard and for the ball chain guard to pick up the keys, but I mean, can't complain about a boomerang for sure.
Yeah, and of course we've okay. I mean, we saw. Yeah, we got a literal map check. You know, we actually did not end up picking up the map at all on Thalane's side. So actually, just with that, you can actually see the immediate benefit, right, of the time saving of not opening that sank chest. It is, you know, quite a significant amount of time because Jesse actually got out of escape earlier than Thalane, but did not, I think, end up out of sanctuary, right, just because of that map check. So.
Yeah, so sort of interesting for Thalane here. I bet he really wants to find bombs right now. Because yeah, anybody that's watched Thalane throughout this tournament knows that he likes to go not to CAC after coming out of escape.
That is very true.
And he actually has everything he wants for South Shore right now, except a bomb for Mini Molom Cave.
Oh,
like he has the rubies, he has hookshot to speed up them. I guess he has nothing to sequence break Zora Dash with, but other than that, you sort of just have everything. So there's some more money there.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and I think also remarked here in chat by Guy here, like this is a money seed. We got 2 300s coming out of escape, so I was even thinking, okay, so you know what, you know, Zora will eventually, you know, be in logic sooner rather than later, probably with either like the glove or the flippers. You know, we've got more than enough cash. Stun prize was 20 rupees. We well, Jesse took the 300 from the mushroom spot. The lane said, I don't need more money, so we are absolutely flush with cash this seed. No more real worries. But actually turns out, you know, the lane's also throwing us for a loop. You know, we're trying to predict all the wacky things that he's gonna go do, you know, in this seed. He looks like headed straight over to Kakariko.
Yeah,
you really
the
can't
issue was
complain
that
about
that he didn't have a bomb. I think if he had a bomb, he would have. I would assume he would have gotten South Shore here. Just because, well, for one, he just likes doing South Shore before CAC, and like I said, in this case, he even has pretty much everything he could want for it. So,
hey, look, there are bombs. We can go to
yes,
South
of
Shore
course.
now.
This is why you should always only get one bomb.
Oh,
from
and
the
more
round or two.
bombs. Yeah, I was even thinking that too. I mean, so both in this case, like thalane and Jesse, demonstrating, some really nice. I won't say casual boost specific game knowledge because it's always there, but probably more prevalent in casual boost is that if you are missing bombs out of the escape sequence, lost woods, etc., and you really need one bomb, at least to get to the back of Blind's hut. There is one in the 50-50 rock, and as you kind of mentioned, there's there's a time cost in getting that second bomb. If you can't find more bombs, you do need another one somewhere. In Kakaro, if you have money, you can always go buy it, but it's gonna cost you more time versus you just go and get a second bomb. And we're kind of seeing, looks like one's gonna be paying off today. We don't need that second one.
Thalane is
yeah.
saving. Oh, we got the shovel, yeah.
Yeah. And
Thalane's
we got
saving just a tiny bit of time, both in the back of Blind's hut and in the back of Kakaro. So if you go right, if you pick up the right pots and go to the chest, you can just open up the chest without having to move toward the left. But if you pick up the left pots, you have to move to the right for at least 1 pixel to open up the chest. Which means you have to move to the right and then also move back left to dash out again. So if you pick up the right pots, you can just open up the chest without moving to the side at all and just dash straight out. Which saves, I mean, it's like, at least you save 2 frames there. If, Jesse moves over more than 1 frame to the chest, thalane saves even more.
But
also, it's not much, but it is something.
Well, but it's oh, okay. We'll talk about something. There is also the pearl. We also got a glove. But I mean, but even just talking about optimizing Kakariko, like you actually do kind of wonder, like, even when two people kind of enter in, the Kakariko at the same time, and by the time they kind of leave Kakariko, one person, especially when you're comparing against, 2 people, like, when you see one person kind of leave with a pretty significant lead, like, I mean, the frames do add up, right? If you can optimize every room or every, screen for a couple ones, suddenly you're a couple seconds ahead, after all things considered. So I think it's actually very useful. Plus, it also doesn't sound too bad, like, in terms of execution. So you just have to know the order, right? So
yeah,
like,
it literally makes the
very
execution
free.
easier,
Exactly.
and you save time that way. You just have to go right instead of left. So Jesse chooses to get the race game blind, which ends up losing him some time here. Considering, we definitely do not need that money.
Yes, we have so many 300s, so many stun prizes from whatever enemy that they want because they've got the boomerang and the hook shot. Thalane, of course, he's he's pretty. Looks like he's actually being a bit more efficient with money, not having to pick up anything extra. Yeah, but with oh my gosh, though, I guess Thalane should have just stuck to his guns, right? Don't mess with recipes, that have worked for him. One of the biggest reasons why, of course, people might want to delay Kakariko is you find a bottle, you find a flute, you find a bow. Perfect. This is exactly what I want to see every time.
So Jesse's doing Modern Cave first. This might be Modern Cave into Ice Cave and then Dam into Agana. It's gonna cost him because he's gonna miss the flute for a little bit.
So actually, because we got the flute now, like, are you supposed to just activate the flute immediately and then like use it later, like saving quit out of Mini Modern Cave? Okay.
Yeah, you wanna walk over to Mini Modern Cave because you just flute to 7 anyway, and you're right there, and then you save and quit. It's faster to, like, even if you're outside of Mini Modern Cave, it's faster to flute to 8 instead of running over.
Okay,
so,
okay.
And this way you also save the trip out.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So yeah, exactly what you have kind of predicted. Thalane is running out, gonna go activate his flute, and and contrary, because, again, it's I won't say it. I mean, it is of course all dependent on the item layouts, right? Like the flute didn't have to be in the dam. So this case, just for the little unfortunate sequencing, on Jesse's side, nothing, of course, to to his fault or anything. He just happened to be this way that he is going to be a little bit, and he's going to incur a little bit of time loss according to the lane in the early game. But you know what? He's gonna find Omega playableness earlier than the lane. So who's the real winner here?
Yeah, it could be pretty bad for Jesse if he ends up finding Dark World access before going to the dam. Because then he might try to delay it to combo it with Swamp. And
with Swamp?
At that point, like, he would bleed more and more time missing that flute and also potentially missing the bow if something significant is in Port or Eastern.
That's actually a really good point. Oh, I was so excited about the flute. How could I forget about the bow that I even got more excited about? But yes, you are absolutely correct. If the bow, so it's a Demon Druid already marking basically everything on our tracker for us. Like, we know that Eastern is a crystal for sure. We don't know about the Dark World stuff yet, but yeah, that bow definitely will give at least the lane currently some good direction to go to. Versus Jesse, like, he doesn't know yet, right? So we're still kind of looking. Oh, talking about, I think, right, so if Jesse had the flute, it's actually faster to flute, I assume, if you can do shallow water, but maybe you need flippers first, right?
Yeah.
To get out of Hobo? Okay.
Yeah, checking Hobo here is very thorough. Maybe you might call it a gamble. It's unclear, because he's not in logic, and it's a really slow check here. Because if you still want to go to Zora area, you have to swim out, and
oh, right, yeah.
Zora area is more important because Zora is in logic, whereas Hobo certainly isn't.
No, that's
so
actually
Dark
a good
Access
point.
could be here. So yeah, it's definitely, like, if you check Hobo, you probably want to come back for Zora area, so Hobo just is a very, very slow check at this point. Fire Rod.
Yeah, that's a less desirable item. I'm sure
that?
it's important, and I'm really glad that Jesse and Thalane are both gonna go pick it up. It is actually, and again, this will actually do, well, assuming they get Dark World access, relatively soon. That is going to be another direction that they can head to, right, in Dark World, having the Fire Rod. We can make predictions now whether or not you think Skullwoods is a pendant or crystal. High chances it might be a pendant, but at least, assuming it's not, there's another place you can go to. And of course, we all know the touted value of Skullwoods, perceived or not.
Yeah, I heard there's don't actually like ran analysis, and there's pretty high odds. It's like 73% that Skullwoods has nothing, so should really not go there usually.
I do. Actually, I very much like the framing of that statistic, because I do think that you should always put the bigger number first, So
exactly.
Very
big number important.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of maybe slightly more disappointment, again, this is the flute for Jesse. Like, yeah, he's certainly glad to have the flute, but again, as you kind of mentioned, he done all of the basically Zora area and Hobo, all of that stuff, kind of Ice Rock Cave, without the flute, right? A little bit of time lost, but nothing force free major. We have lots of seed left to play.
Yeah. The fact that he went here right after that, like, put him back on track. The time loss wasn't too significant. Actually, I guess it was good that the bow ended up being also at the dam along with the flute. Because if the bow had been in, like, Mini Molon Cave, Jesse probably would have gone to Eastern here and missed his flute for longer.
Yeah, that's also a good point. Okay, so I told myself that I would watch for the Cannonball chest. Was it an item?
I saw a blue potion, but I forgot if that was Cannonball or chest.
Okay, no, that's a great point. Well, either way, the lane is going to the back, so maybe we'll just hope that all 3 items have been found. And otherwise, it sounds like it's going to be 50-50 gamble. But we'll, I'm assuming Jesse's also going to go to Eastern, so we can just verify his side.
Yeah. Either way, the big key chest is not in logic, whereas Amos is with that Fire Rod. So
that's a great point. You keep mentioning this logic, and I keep forgetting about it.
That might swing skipping big key chest more in favor in decision making.
Yeah, and I think I also noticed that both Jesse and Thalane went straight for Eastern Palace, right? I mean, this makes a lot of sense. You can also just defeat Eastern, outright, right? Because we have the bow. If they want to go to Vanilla Big Key Chest, they can. They have absolutely no problems going through dark rooms, especially on this equipment. But then I assume they're gonna do Saha afterwards, and this route is faster, right?
Yeah, it is. The only awkward thing is that if you do Eastern first and you haven't checked Saha yet, making a decision about Big Key Chest can be a bit iffy. Because, if Saha just has Dark World access, then that might swing it more in favor of skipping the Big Key Chest, but you don't know that. Or the other way around, if you justify skipping the Big Key Chest because it's not in logic, and then Saha just has the lamp. you know, would also make it awkward because then you're just like, oh, it wasn't logic after all. What if my Dark World Access hammer or mids are there? Either way, it looks like we just found all 3 items. So thalane didn't even gamble on it.
Oh, perfect. Okay, that's exactly what we, want to see. You don't have to, nobody really, nobody really likes that chest anyway. So, it's even better that they don't have to, there's literally nothing there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was a hard container in map chest. First chest had a bottle, and this one was like 5 rupees, I think. Bombs.
Yeah. Oh right. Bomb. Yeah. Nothing important.
Alright, so thalane is gonna show us Old Man. Oh. Does he have just a red rupee? Either way, it's pretty standard to just sequence break Old Man since you just want the save and quit point. And you're probably just gonna get the lamp at some point to put him in logic anyway.
Yeah. I mean, well, looking at our, again, we don't technically all of our dungeons, for prizes, but I'm assuming that the lamp is going to show up. Well, it's going to be required at some point for logical purposes, but it may not actually have to show up somewhere. Yeah. Alright, it looks like thalane did he found the 4th sword in Speckrock Cave. At this point, we've already found, I think, the maximum level of playableness desired. We probably don't need that 4th sword.
Yeah, and I think both of these runners can without it. Maybe Jesse takes some route where he ends up checking Speckrock blind. I doubt it. So I don't think we'll ever see either of them have it.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that if you ever check Speckrock blind, you would probably need some combination of like the mirror and something else. Like I guess I can see it if you want to try and do it after Hera, but well, I don't know. I mean, you have to kind of.
It would be kind of weird here because you would need to like go to East of Mountain first and find the hammer, then.
Yeah.
Hammer. Yes, the hammer.
Okay, and oh wow, okay. Talk about Dark World Access here. Just all conveniently packaged, with the bow tie and everything. Wow. So Jam, where are you going after this? Are you doing Dark Death Mountain then? Hera? Are you going to?
Yeah, you're gonna clear Hera, then you run over to the TR portal. You check the medallion and do Dark Death Mountain. That's gonna be the route that thalane takes you. That route includes optional spiral cave, I guess. It's a bit awkward without the mirror.
Optional spiral cave. Well, that sounds like a cave that we will not see for the foreseeable future, if that's the case. Looks like
thalane is a pretty thorough player, so I assume he will do it.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I mean, well, so far, both Jesse and thalane has been pretty thorough. I would say probably a bit more thorough on Jesse's side. Just seems like he checked Hobo, as you mentioned. It was a fairly out of the way, out of logic, at least for the time being check. Jesse also went to Agina before up to the mountain, which I think thalane has not done yet. But at least in terms of holes, they haven't really created any unforced ones, right? They didn't have to make any decisions, at least for Eastern, but just in terms of leading dungeons, dodging items behind, they seem to be pretty good as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna check a little bit surprising, because Jesse has all of East of Mountain in logic. Maybe the idea is that if Hammer's at Agana, you won't leave Hera behind. So he just tries to find that, but yeah, it's a very thorough, maybe a bit unusual play to check Agana here, I think.
Yeah, I mean, in Rando, especially in probably like non-keys modes, the limited number of items that can really turn things around or maybe swing things for one player or another. I mean, it's not that many, but it really only just takes one. If something had been at Agina that wasn't more money that we didn't already need, or what was Hobo Heart Piece or something? Something that was more relevant. And Jesse had that early. You can certainly give him a pretty big advantage early on, especially right. There's one fewer item needed for go mode. Maybe gets more access, and then. Jesse, that's going to pay, dividends later on when Jesse's going to be in go mode and versus Thalane still searching for things. And, the more things that open up for you, the less desirable those already undesirable checks are going to be, So.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, you can say it about any location, right? You could, in theory, rush Catfish as you enter Dark World, but it's very slow and a pretty big gamble. If nothing is there, you just lose a bunch of time.
Very emphasis on the theory part. Really only probably done on paper. Not sure in this case what the affinity for Catfish is for these guys, but it is certainly not high on the list for many, many people. So I guess
the nice thing here is for Thalane is that he doesn't have a medallion yet, so there's no incentive to enter from the TR portal, so he can just take this portal and go up through Super Bunny Cave.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
With a medallion and already having Kane and Fire Rod, you would probably want to enter at TR, so you could maybe open it up, and if you find the Ice Rod on the mountain, you would just want to go in.
So what happens if we find a medallion here, like in Dark Death Mountain?
Well, then you have the issue, if you don't find the mirror, I'm assuming, then that you would have to save and quit back to Old Man. At that point, you would just go to... Okay, so I was gonna say you would just go to your Alpha dungeons, but both God and Thieves are pendants. Which
I guess
makes it a bit worse.
We can go to Skull Woods, right? We do have a Fire Rod, it's
true.
not, and of course Thalane, and one of Dunka's former team members, or teammates, can certainly understand maybe, the natural affinity he might have for Skull Woods.
Yeah, if we find a medallion, I guess Maya suddenly could become an option. There's obviously the stuff like Hype Cave, etc. Too. So there's a bunch of very attractive stuff in the Dark World right now, where you probably, well, okay, you really wouldn't want to rush Ice Rod list TR here.
That's probably fair. I do have a question for you, Jem. So we do have the Fire Rod. We have Mitts now. How and when is Thalane going to go into Ice Palace?
Do you think? Yeah, that's a good question. Do you think he will at least wait for flippers, or do you think he's just gonna send it? I could see either, really.
Yeah, I don't know at what point does he is interested in going, like, we seem to be also kind of following logic more or less. So is he, is he gonna wait for it? Like he did do the map check, right? So maybe he's interested in finding the flippers first. I guess I don't know. So Swamp is a crystal, according to Demon's Druid. So we definitely know those flippers are gonna show up eventually, or probably sooner rather than later.
Yeah, considering you do want to find the flippers, I think Thalane Ice Palace here makes sense. He's going to the only clearable crystal dungeon right now, which, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. So
and
let's
it looks like
and then figure stuff out.
Yeah, and given all the time we spent in Skullwoods anyway, right? We got plenty of thinking time. So maybe we can ponder, our next, I guess, like move, for the seed. Jesse though, kind of following in Thalane's footsteps, but again, he's just lacking just a little bit. But he has a couple. I mean, just in terms of actual progression through Dark Death Mountain, East Death Mountain, and whatnot, right? The time that he had previously invested was like to Agina, to Hobo. So it's very understandable that he is still basically making his way through Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So if the seed turns out to be just pretty fast with everything in your way, these are probably 2 minutes that Jesse's never gonna get back.
That's true.
If the seed turns out terrible and Thalane checks those slow checks, then that would be very much in Jesse's favor right now.
I did notice though that I think that they've shown some solidarity. Both of them decided to go up the stairs in Super Bunny versus not going through the block. So you know what, we got some parity on the side at least.
The lane is gonna get to enjoy his red mail here as he goes to the bridge test without mirror.
Yeah. So for what it's worth, I believe when Thalane was doing something like the pilot spoiler stuff, one of his ass items from his pilot was armor, and armor is by far one of like the best defensive safeties, right? That, especially for because it has damage, and for blue mail it has damage even more for red mail, and so like, and I've also noticed that once people get red mail, they kind of stop caring about movement and they just run their face into everything. Yes, yeah, they just think that they're invincible. So it's actually a great way to play, both for spoiler and for for in general, because you can be a ton more aggressive, right, in terms of your movement. Yes, but as you mentioned, on the other hand, we actually saw the lane walking out of the back of Skull West because, oh man, that's a very painful death warp. Not to mention, of course, I think our tracker Demon's Druid also reminded us that there is a fairy in a bottle they both got from the Waterfall Fairy, so even less desirable to get out.
Yeah, it looks like Jesse's actually gonna use his fairy here by to sequence break Spike Cave.
Oh. Ooh, this is actually very, very interesting. So this is kind of also the end of Jesse's route, right?
Yeah, the lane opted to not do this right now. Understandable, it's not in logic, it takes a long time. But again, this is like one of those slow out of the way checks that could pay off for Jesse for once. Or maybe it's just another menace he might not get back.
Well, he got a heart refill that, of course, was super useful when we're saving and quitting immediately afterwards. That's okay. You know what? But at this point, at least Jesse pretty much just knocked out like the entirety of the mountain, right? Light Death Mountain, Dark Death Mountain. I guess the only thing kind of left, I think, is going to be a tablet on Ether. So. Yeah, because it looks like actually at least the dungeon layouts so far have been pretty friendly. And Eastern had everything, in the front or on the path. Hera looked like there was also no item in Hera basement, so we got all the items out of there. So, things are, we don't have to necessarily go back, for these even worse locations as well.
Yeah, it could be a bit in favor for Thalane to still have Spike Cave open. Jesse is going to.
Oh my gosh, Jesse is playing. Can we call him Thalane now for the rest of the seed? Because
I think this might be insane counterplay right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what kind of like mentality you have going up against. You're Jesse facing Thalane. You know that for better or for worse, there is a reputation for your opponent to dive ice pals early. I don't know if there is also influence from your previous. As you mentioned, some of the longer out of the way, out of logic. Temporarily, maybe decisions haven't necessarily paid off, so maybe you're trying to counter. I don't know, or but again, like Jesse can clear this, right? He's got the fire rod, he's got tempered. That was a really nice bomb setup there to take out the pen gators. Like he can basically kill out this dungeon, and it's 5/6, right? So the prizes are pretty good.
Yeah. The only awkward thing is if he ends up going. So most things in this dungeon are on the way if you cleared with Kane. But if he needs to go or ends up going to Ice-T, that could be pretty costly if Thalane ends up being able to go mode Ice Palace because flippers show up late.
Oh,
so
right, I gotcha.
There's definitely a risk in this.
That's actually a really good point. I did forget about Ice-T, and yes, like that is one risk that you definitely get, because I mean it's very reasonable, or sorry, certainly not out of the question that you can have flippers go mode. Now, given like that TR is a crystal, like I have my hopium that it's not ice rod hunt type of situation, but you are absolutely correct in that it can be flippers go mode, and then which in case any extra checks that Jesse is making is just is not going to be necessary.
Yeah, and meanwhile Thalane is full clearing green pendant thieves.
Very interesting.
Yeah, he has the fairy and red mail and a bunch of hearts and no mirrors, which probably drove him at least a little bit toward that decision.
That's actually probably fair.
Because leaving it kind of annoying.
Did you happen to catch how many items there were in the front? I saw at least
2,
one.
and I might have been a third.
Okay.
And I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
Okay, and Jesse looks like he doesn't need to go to Ice-T.
Oh,
So
nice.
that means if the lane ends up going ice, go modding ice, the punishment for Jesse is gonna be minimal.
Yeah, that's
It's
what
still
gonna
like,
look like.
how much is it? Probably like somewhere between 15 and 20 seconds that you lose getting all the chests, but it's
Oh, that
definitely
doesn't sound
better
too
losing
bad,
20
though.
seconds than, I don't know, like a minute
A minute?
plus. If you also had Ice Tea on top.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, as you said, like the damage is in this case is gonna be minimal. I mean, chances are though, given, maybe given the lane's propensity also to dive Ice Palace, it almost might just be a wash. The lane can certainly can choose to come into this Crystal Dungeon sooner rather than later. With or without the flippers. It was a nice cold stare fight on Jesse's side. Very, heads up for resource management. Don't have bombos. Didn't have a full magic bar. We're just use sword beams and to take out the shell, and then just some nice cleanup at the very end. I think Thieves Town has all been just money, like not even good money, because we saw all the good money early. It was like 20 rupees, like 1 rupee. Unfortunately, does not look super valuable here.
Yeah, it's just a town of the small-time thieves. They just didn't have that much.
I mean, well, unfortunately, that's how minions go. The minions get paid, paltry sums, whereas like the main big boss, like he keeps like the lion's share of the prize, right?
Do you think Blind is the big boss of the thieves, or is Blind just like a weird orange ghost thing that happens to be in Thieves Town?
He could be like the evil spirit that's kind of, also, infected, right, the rest of the city. He could have been like the one thing that, if he was the first one there, right, he basically became the de facto mob boss, right? And everyone else just kind of had to, follow his orders. So maybe both.
Yeah,
I think that's my answer.
Okay. I'm okay with that lore.
Yeah. I mean, we did see the big boss, right, or the ghost dropping his medallion. That could basically be his spirit or his essence, and we're just gonna have to go talk to another old man in order to find out what the actual value is. Oh, nice chest turn! Yeah, nice chest turn on the lane side.
So Jesse did check Maya in the meantime, and we know that Ether is also required. Also medallion for Maya.
That is good to know.
Also, one more medallion away.
And the ice rod, right?
Yeah. Ice rod flippers, Ether, and mirror.
Oh.
Those other ones are missing.
What? We have so many things to go. I just thought it was like 1 item, and then okay, this is 2 items. Okay, and then you listed out like 3 more, and I was just like, oh, I guess we're not as close as I thought we were. Never mind. My other
fear not, because all 4 of those will just be in pod.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, you're right. On what, but Paw's pendant. It's okay. We still believe in pod. Very understandable.
Yes. Can't go a seed without potters.
That's right. I was actually always thinking too, like, so Jesse also did Hype Cave, and I think the first or second chest of Hype Cave was like already more rupees than the entirety of Thieves Town. So, again, like, you can't just have your treasure, like sitting, in like the very obvious, dungeon or palace or whatever that everyone's gonna storm. You gotta like hide it away, behind at least 1 bombable wall. Maybe 2.
Yeah, what about that dig game though? Did you see how many red rupees that I dug up? That was also more worth than Thieves.
Yeah, that's also true. I mean, and well, so do you get what you pay for? Thieves is free. You just kind of go in, and again, it's paltry, right? It's just like a chump change, if you will, according to the official Hyrule text. The game costs money, so you gotta pay money to earn money. In Hype Cave, well, it's you gotta take the extra step to buy bombs. You can't even get there with boots.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a very high entry fee here.
Yeah, very, very. Turns out the bad like man is a way better thief than